Welcome to the Select Board meeting for Monday, July 21st. We'll call to order at 6:40 p.m. First item of business is a discussion regarding the speeding concerns on Moore Street. And we got some of the data in. Any comments, questions on what we have so far?
Yeah, I can jump off. I thought the study was excellent. Was a lot of information and a lot of data. I think it clearly shows that even though I think on average I think we have from the data that we received, I think we have enough good data to give that to law enforcement and to have them zero in on those particular areas when an officer is on duty. And to add to that, I know we only, at least my understanding is we still only have one patrol officer per shift, or is there two?
Certain day shifts have more than one officer on, but some of the evening shifts are one.
Well, I would like to propose that the board, in conjunction with Chief Holst, look at putting a officer, a selected officer on overtime to deal with those problematic areas within the community, speed issues, and that we start there.
Okay.
That would be my recommendation. Yes, I know it's something we can talk about as a board, and talk with Chief Holst as to how to manage that and exactly what the officer's duties would be. But I think it's time to show that that we're serious about the issues that continually arise as it deals with traffic issues, and I think putting out, Glenn and the Highway Department has done an excellent job in putting out safety signs and things of that sort to calm the traffic down and to slow it down. But at some point, you actually need people out there working it, and people need to understand there's somebody's going to stop them. Okay. So that's my belief.
So I recall when Chief Holst was here at a previous meeting speaking on this matter, they do have enforcement units there to show a presence, to enforce car stops, to get the message out. I don't know how frequently or if there is a dedicated time. And I apologize if I didn't hear you clearly. Did you say in further discussions with the chief, we would do this during normal duty hours or extra duty hours?
I would suspect that would be an extra duty hour, not normal duty hours as it currently stands. But I mean, I think that's a discussion that we can have.
Sure.
I mean, if we were to do something like that, I would take a comprehensive discussion on how to go about doing it and where the funds are going to come from, when, how much is it going to cost, and how often. I don't envision it happening on a daily basis, but, 1 or 2 times a month, putting an officer out there on an 8-hour shift, strictly to do traffic control, speed, monitoring safety issues, and only called upon in an emergency to assist the full-time officer or whoever else is on duty. But their prime responsibility would be traffic safety.
And I think, as part of that discussion, this data could certainly help us
Right.
identify
Right.
what those targeted times might be should it develop to that point. And again, I was actually surprised by the data that a majority of it was within those tolerable limits. I know there were a few outliers that
Right.
gave me cause for
Right.
concern.
Right.
Yeah, a few.
One in particular jumped out,
Right.
very concerning, but no, I tend to agree with you that if we were to do this, have the discussions and develop the opportunity maybe for some selective enforcement. I don't know what, it is a new budget year, so
Right.
I wouldn't expect that certain payroll line items are in any danger at this time.
Not yet, hopefully.
But I don't know what is projected out for the whole year, so I think it would
Right.
be very fruitful to have a conversation with the
Right.
chief about it.
Right, that's exactly why we need to have a comprehensive discussion about it, to determine what that cost is, and how active we want to be in doing that, once a month, twice a month,
Sure. No, and I
as
do,
needed.
I do agree taking a look at it townwide too, because there are other areas in town
Yeah.
that we've received similar complaints from
Right.
excessive speeding, and, we're looking at holistic, views of different measures we can take, but I
Right.
think certainly selective enforcement could be a key piece to that.
Agreed.
I think that makes sense. Talking with them about it and figuring out what that might look like, and I was thinking the same. Maybe it's once or half a shift, once or twice a month in this area, but then there's other areas. So maybe trying to target something once a week, and just being able to have someone doing some of that throughout town in different areas that we know are troubling. Again, a lot of pass-through traffic. It's the both state route, state route, and a lot of the other issues are cut-throughs for them. I don't know that it's going to have the sustained, repeatable impact even if you did it for 3 months, to actually bring it down overall.
Right.
Will it help with a few? Yeah. Is it going to help with how many thousands of cars a day are average
Right.
going through?
Right.
To actually
Right.
who aren't maybe repeat travelers or happen to go through again every week or every day that make an impact to slow down. I don't know about that, so maybe I'm being a little pessimistic about it. But with the volume and the type of route it is, I think we have some challenges in bringing it
You're
down.
sandwiched between two people who understand the problem from the law enforcement side.
You
so-
do, so I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but
No, I don't, as you said, we've talked about it before, and I mentioned it tonight. This isn't the cure-all. It's not a
Right.
magic
Right.
pill.
right.
It's going to have to be part of a larger effort, which our residents have identified. They're willing to participate in finding a solution. We're paying attention to it. And I'll go back to the comment we had about a different part of town. One thing we don't want to do is implement measures that could arguably make the problem worse.
Agreed.
So, but in terms of that overall approach, additional enforcement action could be a part.
No, I'm not. I am for it as a part of it. I'm just not. I agree. Hopefully, will help some, but on its own, will not solve it.
Right. Right.
We're still waiting on the data from SEM to Care Drive.
Correct.
Okay.
That's under the MassDOT control, so we're waiting for their response.
Okay.
And we're also waiting on FERCog to schedule the turn counts at the intersections so that we can get that data, couple it with this data to determine whether or not any of those yield or stop sign requests would be justified under the regulations.
Are the counts the primary driver in that determination?
They're one of the primaries because you explicitly in the federal regulations can't use yields or stops to slow traffic. So it has to be because the flow, the traffic volume is high enough where the it's not a formula, but the regulatory standards have met the conditions for requiring a yield or stop. There's some data, if you look at the traffic flow on Leicester Street south of Pratt, and then the traffic data for Moore, there's a significant difference. And so it suggests to me that individuals are using Pratt, Prospect, and or West High as other avenues to either access or leave Leicester Street. So I think understanding where that traffic flow is, because it's not all heading north up Moore Street.
Right. The majority isn't actually, right?
Correct. Though Moore Street's where we're seeing some of the most egregious speeds. So I don't know if that has more to do with the topography and the clear sight that folks have at that stretch versus actual traffic volume. So understanding that a little bit more, the traffic counts on those turn counts that the FERCog staff was willing to do for us may be informative as to where that flow is and whether or not that rises to a level to require a yield or stop.
How have the pedestrian signage gone? Has it been an issue? How long has it been up? Do you want to come up, please? Thank you.
So they've been out for a couple of weeks now. We were just talking about it. I have not had any feedback from residents. I don't know if Town Hall has taken any calls, whether they like them, hate them, or why.
Okay.
Some of them have been moved a few times. One at the bottom of Central Street has been picked up and moved out of the way.
Out of the roadway?
Right out of the roadway and put on the grass belt. The ones on the lower side of North Street, yeah, it's narrow. Those have been tipped over a few times, bumped out of the way. But again, I haven't heard.
Nothing at Town Hall.
I got one feedback tonight. But no, other than that, we've received no calls.
Okay. Are you seeing them like, normally knocked over or?
The ones on
moved?
North Street.
You mentioned a couple moved out of the way, but on
Yeah,
this end,
Nothing
more
on
or
North
less there,
Street.
nothing?
No, the one on Pratt Street has been fine.
Okay.
I think we have like five left. If you all have any suggestions or anywhere else you want them, that can be put out.
So I know we have them on Leicester, Moore, North, Pratt,
In the bottom of Central Street.
and Central.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to put one down at the bottom of Leicester Street, at the bottom of Gunn, to keep people probably on their own side of the road also.
Mm-hmm.
And for the most part, me thinks there is enough room for tractor trailer in both lanes to put them there, but it may keep people on their own side of the road heading into Miller's Falls also.
It's a good idea.
What's the worst that happens? We
It's
get one that gets
It's a
destroyed?
$200 piece that somebody runs over.
So I've seen these devices. They don't change the width of the travel lanes at all.
They fit right on the yellow
They're
line.
on the yellow line. So
Mm.
if people are hitting them, either A, they're not driving properly, they're not staying within their marked lanes, or are they oversized vehicles? I know North Street continues to have issues, that neighborhood, with
hmm
tractor trailer trucks coming up.
Yeah, regular passenger vehicles, ones on North Street, are not the issue. I don't believe getting by them. I mean, we get them by fine with the town truck, so I think it's, whether it's somebody just doing it deliberately or the oversized loads on North Street.
But on Leicester, I mean, I don't see why you couldn't put them there. They should be able to, even tractor trailers and stuff should be able to
Right.
make, that's a wide turn.
It's a wide corner in both directions, yeah.
Right. I think it'd be useful to be there.
Okay.
Any other spots?
Tee
you
it
can
up,
think of?
see what happens.
No, I think
put 'em up
they're
when
a
I
good
leave here.
idea. It's a passive way of slowing down the traffic and slowing down the speed. Living in the area of North Street on a daily basis, going up and down, you do have to slow down to get past it. But that's just because the road is so narrow to begin
Right.
with.
Right.
Right.
So it does slow the traffic down. I've heard that it's fallen a few times, but it doesn't appear to be malicious.
No, like I say, it's probably more
And
the
it gets put right
oversize.
back up
Yeah.
by people in the neighborhood and others, so I think it's a good idea.
Okay, I'll put the ones up down there tonight when I leave here then.
Any other areas of note?
They're in the truck.
Of course they are.
I was prepared tonight.
I was afraid, thought that.
He came in with fingers crossed.
It's like I've got them ready to go. If there's any other areas that you guys can think of, or we can let you know too. If you have
Sure.
any recommendations, I think those are good ones.
Okay.
Nothing's coming to mind right now, but
How much do they cost?
Around
individually?
$200 a piece. Between the sign and the weighted rubber of them,
Yeah.
they're about $200 a piece.
Okay. So we can charge someone with malicious destruction if someone makes an attempt to
If it's
destroy
seen
it?
and it happens, yes.
All right. Good.
But I'll put those two out, and if we need to move them around in different spots, we can do that also.
Okay.
But the rest of the crosswalks in Irving Center, they border Route 2, and there's the one on Church Street by the park, but everything else, it borders Route 2. So pretty tough to put them there. If we put one at the bottom of North Street, it would be run over all the time.
yeah, that's a whole nother unique set of challenges there.
Yeah. But, yeah, I'll put the ones at the bottom of Lesser Street, and if there's any feedback, let me know, and if there's anything else that you'd like.
And you noted that MassDOT is improving the crossing at some and across Route 63.
Correct.
You noticed that.
The ramps are done, but the crossing signals are not installed yet.
That was going to be my question. Is that what they're doing? They're doing
Yes.
crossing signals? Okay.
They're actually doing, I don't know if you've been up 63 North last week or so, but they actually had the traffic counters up further up on Northfield Road for a week. And 2 weeks ago, before I left for vacation, they were moving the speed limit signs as you're entering into Irving. They moved them back about a quarter mile, so hoping that cars would start slowing down prior to where the original speed signs were also, the speed limit signs.
Where were they? Around the town
They
line?
weren't
here.
far, just around the corner here.
Oh, you mean here, not up at the line?
No,
Right
no,
here.
just
Oh, okay.
between the line here. They took and moved, I think it was about a quarter mile north
Okay,
as they're approaching into town.
I gotcha. I thought you meant at the town line. You mean right here,
Yeah,
approaching
yeah.
the school in this area?
Yeah, so they just
okay.
moved them back a little bit.
Got it. Makes sense. So, especially if they say yes to the traffic data to Sem Drive to here, they have traffic data they just did. We could ask for too, just up the
course.
road, just to understand
Mm-hmm.
what they were seeing.
Yeah.
That drove them to move that back some. I think that'd be interesting as well.
Yeah, like I say, it was just a couple of weeks ago I noticed that they were out.
Okay. Any other questions or comments at this point? We'll keep working on it. All right,
I'll
we'll
follow
put
up
it,
with Chief tomorrow, and we can
Please.
get an answer to the questions you all raised today.
yeah, and we can put it on a future meeting when we get the rest of the data and keep working on it.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Your turn, Pete. Come on up. Review and discuss proposed amendments to the Water Department Regulations, 6 read.
Section 2, right?
Yes.
So I went through all your notes from the last review. I think I grabbed all of the final edits that you all were asking for, and I saved all the prior changes because there was a lot of were a lot of edits on the last version you looked at. So those have all been accepted. What's here is only from your last review. I think I cleaned up the references in the definitions under Article 2. In Article 3, there were 2 different sections that had come together to address new service applications, and some of the terminology either seemed duplicative or was maybe the terminology had changed from paragraph to paragraph because they had previously lived in 2 different sections of the regulations. So hopefully those edits help clarify. Though it did raise a question for me under sub-bullet C, where it switches to water commissioners, and I wasn't sure, can't recall if that's still intentional, or if that was supposed to be water superintendent.
As I'm reading Section 3 or Article 3, we talk about an application for new service, then we talk about what's required in the application to connect or to modify. But we don't have anything on an application for modification. The section's called new service, but everything in it except the first bullet, I think, talks to both new and modification, right?
Correct.
So is it really a new or change of service? Is it both?
we could
Because we
do
don't
new or
have it
change.
separately, right?
It's the same information that Pete's going to need to see if we're changing the existing connection versus a new. Yeah.
Yeah. So like new or modification of, yeah.
Okay. So make that change.
And I think in 380-5, you just want to put the same application for new or modification of service.
Okay.
Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. That's really only about new. 380-5. Never mind. Was that what you were? Did you have something?
No, I was actually down under C. It's actually at the top of page 4 of the document, or 57 in our packet. It has sort of a standalone sentence that says if commissioners take no action within 30 days of the completed submission, the application is automatically denied, or is that, should be automatically denied, or is that approved? Is that,
And what is it attached to?
right, it's just
Is
sort of
it,
floating out.
is it 380-6, not a bullet?
Right. That is holdover language from the past regulations, and I think that may no longer align with some of the revisions that you all had made, specifically the 10 business days that we talked about for at least responding.
In practice, I know we don't have many of these. Who has been approved? Have we been approving them?
To date, the 3 of you have been approving the new connections.
Right.
To your point, we don't have many, but I believe you all had discussed, once you updated the regulations, you wanted the superintendent to be the approving body, and appeals would come to the 3 of you.
Right.
That would make more sense,
Probably be a bit more efficient.
Yeah.
especially again, because even if that language no longer fits, if we don't have the opportunity to meet and review and discuss this and render a decision, person's application may be perfectly fine and appropriate, and yet it's going to be automatically declined according to what the language says. I don't think that's.
Well, I feel like if we have an update, if we have a reg that's pretty current and valid, and we're all comfortable with it, then you reviewing and approving is timely for the applicant and follows something that's very clear, straightforward. If there's an appeal or an exception, then obviously you can always bring that to us, the commissioners, or the applicant can appeal accordingly. But I don't see why we'd want to unduly delay it just for us to sit here with you and ask if you think it follows everything in here properly as well, because you know it better than we do in terms of the exact requirements. So I think we do want to make that superintendent. Would you agree, Bill?
Yes, I do.
And so so then we should just strike that last line in -6 about water commissioners and no action, because there shouldn't be no action by the superintendent. It should just happen within 30 days, right?
Okay.
So I think C, to your point, the superintendent shall notify within 30 days that A, B, or C, right? Or 1, 2, or 3 under C, really.
Right.
And that'll happen within 30 days, period. I don't think there's any other clause there. Just expected that happens.
Got it. I'll make those changes. I think are the other revisions that you requested. Obviously, everything's been renumbered. You wanted, my notes originally said 380-11, but because everything got renumbered, it became 380-12. You wanted a new heading called prohibited connections, and nested under those two were the references to the connections to a fire service line, as well as cross connections. It was more formatting. In terms of substantive changes, I think everything else in the body of the document were section renumberings, but the substantive changes were on the fee schedule on Appendix A.
Pete, can you just tell me what an example of a cross connection that this is prohibiting? I'm reading the definition. I'm just not. If you can think of one.
It's basically a connection where it would allow like a back siphon to come in, or where they could force something into the system, or it could happen by accident. So usually, like an example would be like a vacuum brake on a tank truck when they're filling it. There's always an air gap, so nothing can come back out of a truck back in through a hydrant, like if they're filling a hydro seed truck or a sweeper. I mean, those would be like cross connections. You want to prevent them from any pollutants coming back into the system. Possibility of.
Okay. Just curious. I agree. Anything else anyone saw or noted in here for changes or discussion?
Looks like that Appendix A, the fee schedule, is in line with what we discussed.
Mm-hmm.
My notes had 1,500 for the 1.5 and 2.
Yeah.
You had wanted headings for all the other pieces, so what was missing was the water use rate, so I added that heading. The shut-off notice and related fees, you wanted to change what was listed underneath as service suspension and restoration with the same fee for both. And under temporary connections, we were striking hydrants because it's just turning it on and off, and then it didn't make sense to you all that the rate was different than the other service fees, so it was made the same.
Anything else of note or concern? All good?
All good?
This we do not need to do a public hearing, right? So,
Correct.
I mean, do we want to have another read, or I mean, we made one change tonight, right? We struck a line and changed water commissioners to superintendent.
Right.
I'd be comfortable moving it as amended. If nobody else has any other objections or thoughts
I don't have any objections
or other.
or concerns.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Bill, you?
I have none.
I will make a motion to approve and adopt the Water Department Rules and Regulations, Chapter 380, as amended tonight.
Second?
Can I ask one question? Effective date.
Effective July 21st of 2025,
Thank you, sir.
AD.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I will get that ready for your signature.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And then review and discuss proposed amendments to the sewer use regulation, sixth read.
So as I noted, Pete was reviewing the discharge limits, which came over this afternoon, so I'll get that into this document and get it over to you all. We need a little more time to research the industrial and commercial fee options. We've been looking at a couple different communities, finding the right approach. A lot of them are doing it based on gallons used. So we'd have to have a conversation and go back and double check the regs about whether or not you're going to require flow meters on certain connections that would be proposed. So if we can have a little bit more time to research those pieces to make a recommendation there. But I think in terms of the other changes you were looking for, I believe I've captured them. There were some changes to the definition section that I think I captured. And then there were a few references to wastewater department versus Department of Wastewater, and you wanted that all to be consistent, so I believe I captured those. I think it was quite minor to the body of the document, and where we were really focused were the schedules, where we were talking about discharge and fees.
Any comments, concerns, questions?
I don't have any additional commentary at this time. I'm satisfied to wait until some of the other items that Brian mentioned are developed a little further.
Did you have anything, Bill?
I don't currently.
What are we thinking timing-wise for wrapping that up and potentially doing the hearing?
We meet Thursday, so we were going to go back over our recommendations on the fee structure.
Okay.
And the hearing, I believe you need 5 days of advertising, or an advertisement 5 days in advance, I believe is the rule. I'll have to double check that.
Okay.
Is that a public advertisement?
Correct. For some reason, sewer regs were the one that require that, and the others don't. I don't understand that rhyme or reason, but
And is there a certain amount of time it has to be posted?
that's what I believe is 5 days, but I want to just
Okay.
verify that.
Right.
So it may be something where we can get the revisions to you all for your meeting on August 4th. And if you all are satisfied with those revisions or make further amendments, we could schedule on August 4th, the night you want to hold the hearing, and we could get those ads ready to run.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Can always delay it if we're not ready, but I think we will be. Hopefully we'll be. On Schedule A, page 91, under the Farley wastewater treatment plant, just, I don't know that we need the word note in front of that. It's really just a statement, not a note.
Okay.
There is no industrial discharge, right?
Correct, and can we also add, maybe change it to something like commercial/industrial, cover both?
Sure.
Because now they're allowed.
If we're calling them out as two different things, a commercial fee and, I'm just trying to think ahead.
I'd rather put both than one think it's allowed.
Right.
It's a
The
valid point.
only question I would have to you all, and I think it's distinct in other ways, but I don't know if you all will feel this is clear enough. Commercial, some people may assume commercial means a home-based business, and Erving's zoning is very friendly to home-based businesses, within reason. And so I know we do have some home-based businesses in Farley, and so how we tease apart what's allowed under that, in that collection system versus something else, just so somebody's like, well, my home-based business is a commercial business, but is it the same? You know?
I think it's a fair point. Those are not zoned commercial, though. They're zoned residential. That's why they're home-based, right?
Right, but is this language going to be feel
right.
accessible?
Right. I understood.
Maybe I can review the zoning that was updated by the voters in '23 and just see if there's a definition or something that helps clarify that we could be consistent with.
Yeah, maybe a definition of if there's a difference in the definitions between a home-based and a commercial business
Right.
that's meaningful to this use.
Okay.
We can always update the definitions accordingly to
Right.
define it too.
Okay. Yeah, we can look at that on Thursday when we meet.
Yeah, the one thing to consider would be the average daily flow limit to Farley to POTW number 3 is 10,000 gallons a day.
Right.
So right now, on average, we're in a drought, no rain, so there's no sump pumps or anything running. We're averaging around 3,000 a day. So high rain event, we've gotten up as far as 9,000. We've actually had one or two events where we went over that 10,000, which is fine. But we're talking if it's a commercial business, something that would produce a steady discharge into the system. We just want to be mindful of that, of what, if someone's going to do a commercial or a home business, and if it's something where they're going to discharge into the system, we need to know what that is before we can, if that's how you want to do it, before we can say yay or nay.
I'm thinking that maybe that sounds like we should build that out more. To say, I think industrial is prohibited. Commercial is prohibited with exceptions for, home-based businesses dependent upon the business, discharge or how that will
volume.
affect it, and put some language around there that would need review.
Right.
Right.
If there's some meaningful change in discharge, and I don't know how you word that, but you may want to put that in there, because now it sounds like we really need to carve out commercial home-based as something that may need review.
Right. I'm trying to think, like, if the Board of Health was asked to license a commercial kitchen at a home-based business in Farley,
Right.
I don't know how many gallons it would discharge a day, but I think if they're considering that from a business perspective, and the town clerk was determining whether or not he needed to license a business for that area, it may be really important to understand, can the sewer system even accept that level of discharge?
Right.
So, okay.
So yeah, I don't know what that metric is, but defining some amount of expected increase in discharge that needs review.
Okay.
I can't think of something, but something that uses a lot of water.
Well, I was thinking
Home
either
brewery.
a home brewery, a home laundry service, a car
Yeah.
detailing service. They would all
Sure.
use
Sure.
large quantities of water.
Yeah.
Which may not be of note from your standpoint, but enough that they should at least, you should be aware.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, 2 or 3 smaller ones may equate to enough of a change where on high flow days you're already hitting your max.
Right.
So,
Right, and then if there's 2 or 3 more.
okay.
So yeah, I think it sounds like we should build that out a little more than just one line.
Okay.
And maybe you do put the discharge limit for Farley and put a note that the aggregate limit is this for Farley. And so therefore, commercial home-based needs review for any significant, more than X percent or X volume change in discharge anticipated. All other traditional commercial business or whatever that definition is also prohibited.
Okay.
Excellent.
Okay.
Just think we might have a dry cleaner and a wet bar.
Well, you gotta
Yeah.
figure, Farley's just a giant septic system, so
Right.
Could have a niche business.
it's a little more delicate.
Getting too far.
I was more entertained by it than he was. Do you bring your dry cleaning after you're at the wet bar or before? Anyhow, so we'll carry that one, anticipate hopefully putting together a date for the public hearing and the last read next meeting.
Is it okay to save the other red line changes?
Yeah, I have no concerns with it.
Yeah, I have no
Yeah.
concern.
So
Adopt
we'll
those,
accept those changes and then we will just focus on Schedule A and Schedule B and the research that we do on zoning and bring that back to you for August 4th.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Why don't we jump to discussion regarding Ursico proposed upgrades to the Erving Center wastewater treatment plant, PW number 2, while you're up here. It's on page 122 in our packet. So we've passed these on to Ursico already.
I sent the draft and let them know that we would be meeting tonight to discuss if you had further questions or revisions beyond these, with the goal of meeting again on August 4th.
So I guess to the board, do these cover everything that you had thought of that we discussed last that you've considered in between? Are there anything missing, anything more that you'd like to see added to this list?
I'm fine with the list provided by Pete. I guess my only question is, I think like odor, I guess would be self-explanatory. And noise, again, is that something that we're going to indicate to Ursico that I believe they've already tested this system, so they either know or we just haven't asked them that question. So I'm wondering, is this really additional information that we need to request from them? Or is it just you need to set up these, you need to define what the odor is on the equipment, or the Desmo count should be this. I'm just not exactly sure what some of this is asking of Ursico. Are we asking that they reply to this, or?
Yes, absolutely. As far as the way a crow flies, some of you live very close.
Right.
I'm sure at
Right.
times you can smell the plant now.
But I know that we asked them that question, we posed those questions to him at the first meeting, and they replied in the negative to all of them.
Sir,
I think
sorry.
I think the part of it is yes in that discussion, but some of these are specific levels, And their testing was done, I believe, at a turkey farm
Right,
in
right,
Indiana
right,
or in another state.
right,
How it's going to be when it's located here,
Right.
what the noise level changes are here, how that's going to carry.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
the geographic setup is going to be different. So how is it going to be? And I don't know. It sounded like anecdotally there was significant odor where they went already. So whether the material that they process here would have odor or not may not have been
Mhm.
discernible. I think some of it is getting answers in writing to these things so we have them,
Mhm.
and then what I was going to say is kind of once we have these, Brian reached out to the our counsel for our agreement with them, and discussed some of what this is and what's being talked about. And in some of that discussion, it sounds like what I would recommend we probably want to do is end up putting some of this into writing formally, that there's an expectation that they are meeting these.
right.
And they are assuming or believe that they can already, which is
Right.
great. But if it, for some reason, once installed or once operating, if anything is outside of what our expectations are, they've got to mitigate it
Mhm.
and in a timely manner, right? So there's just that formal in place to protect the residents and to ensure that it all ends up being as expected. Does that maybe make more sense? So part of it is kind of ensuring that what we heard in the meeting
Right,
do meet some of these things, and some of these
Right.
things have very specific levels recommended by EPA,
Right.
which we've learned since. And others are understanding, I think, in more technical detail that Pete probably will understand better than I would about
Right.
how they're handling odor and things like this
right.
in writing, and then also having that to incorporate into an agreement that says, this is the expectation, this is your expectation and ours, and if it
Right.
doesn't get met for some unforeseen reason,
Right.
we have recourse. Does
Right, and
that make more sense?
Yeah, that makes more sense. I would suspect that this equipment has, as it's designed to do what it is to do, that it has specs and minimum operation procedures that go along with the equipment itself. So I would assume that it would answer some of those questions. The maker of the equipment would be able to answer some of that equipment. But I'm not exactly sure how that equipment's going to react here unless it's set up here.
Exactly.
Right, so I was getting at, and when we brought these questions up, was a turkey farm in the flatlands of Indiana
Right.
will be a lot different than how sound might catch and echo and run down the valley or the river line and leak into neighborhoods. So while they, based on their knowledge and their observations, they believe this, you said, if it gets here and it's not, what's our recourse? I'd want to know, well, what are additional mitigating factors that you can put into play to bring that back within the tolerance levels? Because, well, we're not really sure, that's not going to be a good answer. But if they say, well, we have additional measures A, B, C to do that, okay, that's a little more palatable and acceptable. So,
I mean, there's levels for daytime noise
Right.
and nighttime.
Yeah.
Considerations, time of year. I know a couple of years ago, there was a resident on River Road, and after he pointed it out to me, then I could hear it. After the leaves were all off the trees, there was noise that was really bothering him, and it came from the industrial park over by the tech school. So noise, even if it's a loud bang or just a steady hum, can really irritate people. So, I mean, we need to be considerate of our residents, obviously. So,
I think,
Yeah, and I think a lot of these, they may not have all the answers either. And I think one of the things is, yeah, they have this equipment. There's manufacturers that have some answers. It sounded like they had some options for muffling noise that they've already looked at. So I think to your point, Jim, maybe it's saying we plan to start with this, and if needed, there's these options that we can implement to mitigate further the noise. Because even if we do a noise study or require one now, when the leaves are all out and everything. We may find in the fall and the winter it's different, right? And also, this equipment I don't believe has necessarily been used in this exact type of application. Sounded like it's been used in wood pellet manufacturer,
Correct.
and in this turkey farm, but not necessarily in wastewater treatment, you know, of this sort. So there may be some unforeseen things, and I think it's not about, at least for me personally, it's not about that we don't want it. It's just that we want to make sure that we have everything in place that's needed to make sure it doesn't unduly impact the residents, it doesn't cause any issues with EPA,
right,
you know,
right,
et cetera, right?
right.
All the things that we would worry about if it was, we were operating it ourselves directly, so.
I do think there was a question that Pete brought up to you all with the team from Ursico that revolved around what's in the particulate that may go into the air. So there's the odor question, but is there anything else in the emissions, even from the burner?
Right.
And you all talked about what else is released with the vapor, and I know they said from their testing it's largely non-detects. But if there is ever to be anything, what's the reassurance to the three of you that that's going to be mitigated? So I think we need more details on what the scrubbing technology is, and how effective it is, and what potentially is being captured, and what the recourse is if it's not.
Right. And some of these may be things that we don't know the answers, and they are not going to know the answers, like you said, until it's in place and operating.
Right.
But it's more of stating that we're clear about what our expectations are up front, so they know that if they run into that while operating, they're going to be expected to mitigate it or address it in a timely manner. I think those are the things that it's just both sides are clear on
Yeah.
what's happening and what's expected. The other piece that isn't a question for this, but you know, assuming we end up drafting some sort of amendment to our agreement or formal, you know, document with them about this improvement, is we asked about any plans to sell the product, byproduct or anything, and they said at this point, no, it was to it was to offset or you know, reduce hauling costs. But I do think we should put some language in there that should they explore it is a revenue stream, right? And I understand for them it may be a cost avoidance or further reducing their costs, but like the third party waste acceptance that they had in the past, there should be some language in there that have to come to us, and we have to talk through how that looks and if there's any revenue sharing there if they're operating it to make money, right? So I just think just a clause in there that's clear, we're not against it, but should this be really successful and then down the road you work on that, we need to come back and talk about it too. And I think you brought up, and it's the last bullet, that's right, the continued operations one I think is almost the biggest, that no matter what, should this not function as well as we think within the scope we want, that needs to operate the way it does today. We will go back to that at any point, or should something happen, hopefully not, and we need to operate that plant, we need to operate it the way it used to operate, or operated before the dryer. So, I think that one's a critical one no matter what.
Agreed. So we'll get you
Any
answered all those.
missing, any other questions, expand on any of these, or good enough for now, for our next meeting?
No, that's good enough
think it's
for
good
now. I
enough
just had a problem in understanding how we were going to go about doing that.
Fair.
We'll get you as many answers to these for August 4th. Like I said, they've already been sent to the Ursico team, so we'll follow up. And if there's any other developments, we'll get that information for your August 4th meeting as well.
Pete, have you spoke with Chief Wonka about the natural gas piece of this, or the gas pipeline piece, if you will? That they're, I don't think they have, but I think we should loop him in and just make sure he's up to speed, and
Sure,
in case there's any concerns with them running that gas line from
I can do that.
their existing facility over, or potentially adding a separate station like they had discussed, just so it's on his radar, and anything that he, you know, may have of note as we may build out an agreement here, that may be something we need to
Okay,
get him up to speed on as well.
I'll do that.
Thank you. I think that's it for now.
Yep.
Okay.
That's it.
Carry it to next meeting.
Okay.
Thanks, Pete.
Yep.
Going back up, review of the memorandum of the multi-year agreement with the Franklin County Housing and Redevelopment Authority for the administration of the housing rehabilitation program. Section 4, page 93.
That's it.
What's the number on
Section 4, page 93 of the packet.
So this was very minor changes. You accepted all the red lines at the last meeting. And then down in Appendix B.
Well, this is when we had the replicating appendixes and confusion there, right?
Right. And what Appendix B was trying to address is in the event that you all wanted to reprogram funds, which we've only done on 1 or 2 occasions, they're still for CDBG eligible activities. How are we going to make that request? I think my recollection of your last meeting was that we weren't going to put this formal structure in place. The 3 of you at a select board meeting would have a conversation about requesting it, which is exactly what we've done every last time that we've done this. We send that request off to them, and if it's something that they need to administer, the 3 of you would negotiate a rate for administering that. In the past, the 2 examples that are coming to mind, we've been able to administer ourselves, so we haven't needed them to do it. So I think this language just closes that gap that was appearing in this document before, and I think the request was to bring the 2 paragraphs together into a single. So that's the only change that I've made to this document. Other than I did catch on Appendix C that there were still some B references, so I made that change. But other than that, it's the same document.
Council had no additional comments or?
Council had no additional comments, and the feedback from the Housing Authority was that that reflects the conversation that you all had.
All right, page 118 of the packet, Appendix D. Comes after Appendix E.
Do I have one more?
We have 2 Ds. There's a D on page 113 and a D on page 17, 18 of the packet.
And we have an E above that.
It's almost like we need to do home improvement, ABCD, home rehab, ABCD, and get, because that's what's happened, right? Is we end up with ABCD of both and they're overlapping.
Got it. So then we need to
So
amend appendix, the second reference to Appendix E to be F.
a D to be F.
And then it
Page
looks like there's an
26.
E after that, so then we need a G. F and G.
Yes. So that's a different context.
I will
Appendix
fix those.
D on page 26 will become E
Yes.
of the agreement, and on the page 28, Appendix
Correct.
E will become G.
Right.
Okay.
Go to golf.
There should be a rule about how many appendices a document can have.
I think you are correct. Seems like they can go to Z. Any-
I've seen an Excel spreadsheet.
Listing them all, yeah. Any concerns, comments, questions, motions?
None.
Where are we at? Other than the appendix corrections, are we good to move it forward at this point?
Yeah, I'm comfortable moving it forward as amended. Just trying to get to the top to see if,
What page is that even on?
A Massachusetts public body, politic and corporate, huh? That is some interesting language I've not seen before, hence in the opening sentence for the
Lawyers.
HRA. I don't think I've heard that reference before.
Looks like the title page is on 93. Yep.
okay. So I will make a motion that we approve the agreement for participation in the Housing Rehabilitation Revolving Loan Fund Program and/or Housing Rehabilitation Loan Program by and between the Town of Erving and the Franklin County Regional Housing and Redevelopment Authority as amended, effective 21st day of July, 2025.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I'm trying to remember how many signatures this one requires.
Yeah.
Looks like just the chair. So I will get that ready for Chairman Smith to sign.
Thank you,
Do
sir.
you need my?
Not unless the three of you need it.
Say if it.
Oh, for me to sign?
Yeah.
Unless you guys want to. I don't think it matters. We just approved it and I can sign. It's just,
I approved it as amended, and it stipulates you as the chair to sign it. So,
so I think
I
we're
think so.
good. Yep.
rather than back out a motion.
I
and
think
go
when
through-
we delegate the signing to somebody else, usually that's when we need to call it out
Okay.
specifically.
Right.
That's not a board member, but I think as long as one or all of the board, it's usually not,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
not an
comfortable.
issue. Okay.
As it is, it does state you are the signing authority. So.
I will get that done.
Sounds good.
Jake, we trust.
Bumper stickers.
It's too early for comedy.
Revenue potential.
re-
$10 a piece.
I was somewhere and I noticed someone was having notary services done, and I assumed they were paying because it was in a private business, and I was like, huh, do we charge for ours? We probably don't. Could be a revenue stream. Anyway, it just made me think of that, but that's a community service we offer, right? Not a revenue.
Relief for our taxpayers.
Exactly. All right, I digress. FY26 Select Board Liaison Assignments for the Museum Committee.
We forgot one.
We didn't forget them. It's just new.
So the museum committee is a new committee,
Yes.
That is correct.
and I'm the liaison to the Historical Society, so it would only seem fitting that I'd be responsible for the museum committee as well. Unless
I
there's
wholeheartedly
any
support that.
objection.
You all make this so simple.
It's logical to me, and you're not going to hear me challenge you for it. So I
I
think
will make a motion
It's
to
all
appoint
yours.
Selectman Bembury to serve as the liaison for the Museum Committee effective July 21st, 2025.
I
Second.
like it. All those in favor?
Aye.
I will notify the
Make it
committee.
really formal.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Bill. Let's see. Review and potential vote regarding drug-free workplace policy and the Council on Aging van driver program.
So, let me get back to that document.
We talked about this briefly, kind of a precursor last time.
Yeah.
Council was reviewing us, just having a separate call out for this policy specific to this job
Right.
position
Right.
to be compliant with the federal funding requirements.
That's correct. So this document, council has verified for us that this document is compliant with the federal workplace, drug-free workplace policy requirements.
So our
And-
section 7B, the sample.
Starting on page 124, the sample, exactly.
Yep.
And there was a moment where council was trying to go redline it, and at the end of the day, it just, the return on investment for that didn't make a lot of sense.
Okay.
This is specifically required for this specific program that we run in conjunction with the FRTA regarding federally funded transportation services. And that reference to the transit provider, in essence, we are the transit provider in that sentence. So this program is a requirement. If I had to guess, it's long been a requirement.
We are, or the FRTA is?
We are.
Okay.
So think of the contractual relationship. FRTA is contracting with us by providing a van and providing the funding to pay for the van driver program. We employ the van driver and take care of scheduling rides and making all of it happen
So we're overseeing the transit program,
as the
and
provider.
they're funding it.
They're funding it
Okay.
through this contract.
Got it.
As a condition of the contract, because the money is coming from the federal government, we need to be in full compliance with US DOT requirements. That includes this random sampling and testing. We have our own random drug screening and testing program, and we've been running that for years. Our policy is nowhere near this detailed. And I, after talking to council, wouldn't recommend at this point that we change our existing practice for that. So the recommendation that council and I are making to you is to adopt this solely for the program that we run here at the Council on Aging, so that the remaining policy that you already have in place stays in effect for all the other departments. Hasn't proven to be problematic to date. I don't think we have a need to change it. This would be in effect for the Council on Aging program as we've been running for years. So I did try to make it clear that this policy, as it's presented, if you choose to adopt this tonight, is solely for this program, and I put that in the section of applicability as well. As a related suggestion, there was a recommended edit to the town's drug-free workplace policy, not our testing protocols, but just the drug-free workplace policy, because when we adopted that last, we tried to make acknowledgements that Massachusetts has deemed that recreational use of marijuana is acceptable off-duty, but the federal law does not provide any allowance for that. So council was recommending that the three of you consider making revisions to that personnel policy. So I included that in here for a first read. If you all are willing to consider those edits, it would just basically be removing the reference to marijuana and sort of going back to just sticking to the federal requirement. This document, while lengthy, again, council's reviewed it and has no recommended edits at this time. It is a bit time sensitive in the sense that FRTA is trying to get all their contracts resolved as soon as possible, and this is an important condition of maintaining the service.
As was discussed at our last FERCog meeting,
Yes.
and they were very anxious to have us weigh in on it.
Okay. Understood.
So, do you want to tackle the policies independently, or do you
I think we should, because I think that the one we adopt for the position, if we choose to adopt it now, the change to our personnel policy, I think we would do multiple reads normally. It could go either way with this one. It's one position specific. The other one's all employees. So, and I think the first one, this new policy really for this position only, this program only, kind of, there wouldn't be one potentially without it. So I don't think it falls into that kind of normal. We would take 3 reads and spend more time with it, because without it, there isn't a program to have. So I don't. That's my opinion, and I think our own drug-free workplace policy we could take a little more time with, as we normally would, even though it's a small edit.
Right.
Just out of
No,
giving it time.
there was an item in some languages I was reading through our own policy, how those red line changes, and I have some, not concerns, but questions about how that
Mhm.
translates into real life, but I also know. So I think we're in agreement. We'll handle
Okay,
these
so take them
separately,
separate, and one I think we should move tonight if we're ready to, and the other one I think we would discuss and continue.
Yep.
Make sense?
Yes.
This policy, the sample policy,
Mhm.
as the transit provider, is this provided by the Transit Authority?
Yes.
Yes.
And we've not edited it?
The only edits that I put where my
Or
contact
the
information
applicability in
shows
yourself?
that was blank. Under the top of the heading on that first page, underneath where it says drug and alcohol testing policy, I added that it's specifically in the title for the Council on Aging Transportation Services. I wanted to make it
Mhm.
very bold on the first page. And if you go to section A of applicability on your packet page 127, I edited the very first sentence of the applicability paragraph to restate again that it applies to every person working on the Erving Council on Aging Transportation Services Program. Everything else from that comma on was already in the document. And those are the only revisions I've made.
From the comma after Transportation Services Program in the first sentence?
From that comma on, everything
As was.
right. I think before it read, this policy applies to every person, including an applicant or transferee.
Okay. The reason I asked is there a section about changes to the policy or updates and how they'll be made that I missed? What I'm getting at is it's their policy. We made amendments just to call out that it's specific to this program in Erving,
Right.
but otherwise it's the FRTA's policy that we're adopting for this program
Right.
here. Whatever update or change type notification that they have is the way this will update for that program for Erving as well. So make sure that's clear. If you follow what I'm saying. So if FRTA changes this policy
Mm-hmm.
and however method they do that and whatever applicable implementation timeline they have, that's what it's going to happen. That's how it's going to apply to our transit program.
No,
So-
because if we adopt this,
Mm-hmm.
this stands until something new is presented to us, which we would then locally adopt.
I guess, and that's what I'm getting at.
Yes.
Would we, or are we saying that we are using their policy and their policy as amended?
What Selectman Loin just said.
It's
So
a choice.
basically, you're adopting a
Copy
department-specific policy
Right, that's a
to
copy of
implement.
theirs.
That's a copy of their best practices
Okay,
or contractual requirements. So going
but
forward,
we are not signing this program up for any changes to the policy that they have at FRTA without further review by us first.
correct.
Okay, that's fine.
And so if there's any requested changes in the future, change in federal law, change in regular, case law or whatever that would necessitate a revision of this policy, those would have to be communicated down to us. And my expectation is just like this,
Okay,
they're saying they need to see that you've adopted this.
okay,
And so those changes would have to be embedded into the new document, and they would need confirmation that you've adopted those revisions. So it would
Okay.
still come to you all as the oversight board.
okay.
So this policy essentially is not a change by the FRTA more than it's a change by the feds.
I believe that this is a federal requirement that has
Right.
existed for quite some time, and
Right.
we have just not been asked.
Oh, okay.
And now we're correcting that.
Okay.
Lost in
I've been
translation
here,
somewhere?
this is my 9th year, I've never seen this document before.
Right.
This was the first year I've seen it. And in the past, I've always renewed your services because you've had this program for decades.
Mhm.
This is the first time I've seen this, and they immediately said, stop, I don't recognize this document, and this isn't something that I can approve without coming back to the board or talking to council. So I stopped it.
I know it's specific to only one situation, and that's the van, but isn't it, couldn't it be contested by the union overall that we've changed our policy,
So,
even if it's for one person?
in theory, but Brian worked with council and we spoke with, I believe, with the unions about this and that we would be carving it out just for that program and asked ahead of time if they would have any concerns before we did it. And
We've heard back from police, and there's no concern. I need to follow up with wastewater. But again, this is only for that one program. This is not a unionized
Right.
position.
Right.
The other change that you were considering is a first read would potentially impact other groups. And again, the initial response, at least from the police union, was no concern.
Mm.
so, no and yes. Hence I think we're prudent if we want to move forward with one now,
Right.
and prudent to take our normal time of a few reads on the other because of those potentials as well, just to make sure that we've
Correct.
covered everything that
Correct.
there could be.
So I do see the two potential dates highlighted at the top of the document. Would those both be effective on the day it's adopted, or would
That's up to the three of you.
Well,
I would assume.
There were no additional revisions made tonight,
Right.
other than we were made aware of them, and
Yep.
it appears we may or may not be in agreement with them at this point, to be,
Right.
if we do move to a vote. But
Yeah, I think what you would do is start with an adoption date, because you've never had this document before, so it'd be odd to say it's been revised. It's your first
Mhm.
time adopting it, so maybe we would strike the first line and just leave it with whatever adopted date you have. And then a future revision could, I know they provide like a table where you can track all those revisions. And maybe that's where it goes the next time.
I have one issue, I think, with the table of contents, because I know this is long, but it's not 200 and something pages long. So in the table of contents, we jump from page 19 to 210. Don't know if
Fine.
that's just from bringing it into this packet, or if there's really an issue on the original sample, but
And it does connect to the right pages. There's no page numbers in that document, which is even more
Mhm.
curious.
I know there's no page numbers on the pages, which is just makes it easier to count, not. But I can tell you there's not
What I
that
can-
many pages on our whole packet, so.
Of course.
Right.
What I can do is, they did send a Word version of this,
Okay.
so I can reformulate
It is,
the table of
I
contents.
believe it is 21 and 22 and 20, I don't know. It's a
Yeah.
little weird, but yeah.
It's in the 20s, not the 200s.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can make those
Don't know what
updates.
happened, but it's clerical, but let's make sure that's right on the final copy.
Right.
Oh, and F, return to duty testing, is page 113, not 13.
Yeah, there's something going on with that table of contents, so we'll make that
So-
correct.
So we should fix it on our version, whatever that looks like. But that's the only thing that I saw of note that we would want to update. Myself, I mean, beyond what you said about it's not a revisal, it's a new policy. So.
I met with the director today. She has no concerns or recommendations to alter this program. And both the director and I will be in touch with the FRTA administrator tomorrow about whatever you decide tonight.
And in terms of the policy update log, we should just put initial adoption in that first line, right? If we do adopt, or when we do
I
adopt.
was at an adopted date.
Yeah. Any comments, concerns?
I have none.
Move forward.
I will make a
Will you?
motion. Oh, did you want to take it, Bill?
Yeah, I was going to make a motion that we adopt drug and alcohol testing policy for the Erving Council on Aging Transportation Service for the transit provider. All provisions set forth in regular print are consistent with requirements set forth in 49 CFR Part 655 or Part 40 as amended. And the adopted date being 7/21/25.
I will second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And this one calls for the executive signature. I'm assuming that's the chairperson, so I will get it ready under that understanding, if that's okay.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
The attachment A doesn't have you under the DER. Did you notice you need to add that in?
Get back down there.
It's you you volunteered yourself as a designated employer representative.
I do see that now. I will get that
So to
updated.
fill that one in too. Just a couple, clerical ones we'll fill in before we sign it.
Yes, I will get that updated.
Thank you. All right, review of meeting minutes. We have a few. We have June 2nd, 2025, June 9th, 2025, July 15th, 2025. We're going to pass over the June 23rd, June 24th, and July 7th, correct?
Correct.
Either individually or all together, if there's any questions, concerns, changes, motions.
I'm comfortable doing them collectively or in the aggregate.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. With the exception of July 15th, I was not a select board member during any of them, so I would be abstaining.
Do we want to read them?
You want to do the Junes and then do the July separate?
Sure.
Okay. Let's do that.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from June 2nd, 2025 as presented.
Second.
Se-
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Those abstaining?
Abstain.
And I will, sorry, I don't have my glasses. Make a motion to approve the meeting minutes as presented for June 9th, 2025 as presented.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstain.
Make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from July 15th, 2025 as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Review and potential appointment to the museum committee. We have 2 letters of interest and 1 remaining seat at the moment with the makeup of 5.
That's correct.
We have a letter here, which I don't know if it's in our packet, from
No, I received
Eric.
that today.
Duffy. Okay. And then we have one in our packet from Leslie Brown.
Correct.
For only 47 years.
Hmm?
I was just reading out loud. For only 47 years.
And this one was, well, it's 95, so almost 30 years.
Longer than myself has been in town, so. I chuckle at the only.
Right.
Only a
Some of you-
significant part of a lifetime.
Aren't recognized as owning your homes yet, so.
Hey, right. I'm far from it, is that right?
So,
Please.
yes, I'll start by saying I am very familiar with both individuals. I highly respect both individuals, and I recognize the longevity of their commitment to this community. I find that, I appreciate the interest. It's great to have a problem where we have to decide one over the other versus we're desperately trying to fill seats.
I said that to them, so.
Where I ended up was there's a lot of things being equal, and the only thing that I'll say is in their letters of interest, Ms. Brown went into more detail as to her interest and passion driving her decision. So for me, just say having a little more basis of knowledge is, for me, is weighing in that direction.
Well, I think as Museum Committee Chair Dodge said, too, that in her memo to us, just that, anyone is welcome to help Museum Committee work on this, too. So being a member of the committee brings with it the, the voting and the meeting and those pieces, but it doesn't preclude anyone from participating or being at those meetings or helping with the work that they're doing, which is the real purpose, right? I am pleased and impressed to see we went from struggling to have a quorum as a single body to two bodies that now have quorums and, are growing. So that's great. Great. Second, what you said, Jim, about it's a great problem to have. Phil, any?
So I respect both of these individuals that they wanted to seek service with the town of Erving in the capacity that they requested. But I even equally more respect that the chair of the senior housing, got senior housing committee on my mind, that the chair of the historical society put forward Leslie Brown is her recommendation, and I would not want to change that recommendation that's made by the chair.
This is a one-year appointment? Or
This is a one-year appointment. As you noted, we went from a newly formed vacant committee to a full committee very quickly, so the 1 year is all that's left at this time.
I think we made it. Filled 3, filled 4, now filled 5.
Quickly, yeah.
Across 3 meetings. We'll fill it.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
So I make a motion to appoint Leslie Brown as member of the Museum Committee for a term of 1 year, beginning July 21st, 2025, and ending June 30th, 2026.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. I will notify everyone.
Thank you.
I second it.
Which way to go? Like a clock. I know it's one of discussion regarding procurement for community access TV professional services.
I think it's page 178.
178.
178, yep. Section 10.
So this speaks directly to the select board viewing of the proceedings, annual town meeting and special town meetings
So currently it's
currently.
It's all of that.
school
All of
committee,
that.
School committee.
all school
yeah,
committee,
right,
all board,
right.
special town meetings, annual town meetings. And did we put public hearings in last time or just discussed it
We just
anecdotally
started
as
doing that
available?
this year.
Okay.
Correct.
So we had talked about doing, or myself and Brian had talked with BNC TV about doing all public hearings or some public hearings as, I think it was kind of as time allowed or there was capacity because it wasn't part of the last agreement. But it was something that I also at some point wanted to bring to the board, should we have a policy around what should be broadcast and generally or always, and are those the type of things that we want to say are? So probably something to consider, not tonight, but just in general as we talk about the procurement.
And that's something now that you have a cable advisory committee, another
Right.
committee that was empty and now is full.
Right.
That it would make sense to get them up to speed and have that conversation with them.
I would say in a perfect world, that's how the cable advisory committee was initially should be acting
Right.
and supposed to act. But this process started with the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah.
And to me, it's an important process, and I think for me, I think it's a process that I think should stay with the board. at least for the time being. I don't see any reason to turn it over to the Cable Advisory Committee. And I guess I say that because I understand that viewing Comcast is important to the community, but more important to me is the function of this process and the citizens being able to see it, and our special town meetings and annual town meetings and school committees are very important. So I would like to think that because it is that important to me, that it stays within the board process to make changes to and to add to or policy and procedures. So.
Okay.
Well, my thoughts were that I think it'd still be the board's procurement, although there's some, Brian was informing that in some towns, the agreement ends up being something that is aligned with the franchise agreement because it's often paid for by the fees from. And so sometimes it's a extended 10-year or whatever that is aligned so that every time you do the franchise agreement, you
Right.
also are doing your broadcasting agreement, and it's for
Right.
the same period.
Right.
Which is coming up in 3 years, 2 years, 3 years.
September of '28 is the renewal, and
So,
our expiration date, and you start 2 years in advance. So we're
Right.
going to start next year with the ascertainment process.
but our new franchise would start in theory September 28,
Correct.
2028, about 3 years. So, what I was getting to, or what I was trying to get to, is the idea that the Cable Advisory Committee is now getting active again because that franchise agreement is coming up. I think to have them weigh in and provide some feedback on things I think we may want to change or update in the procurement, I think is a good thing. But I believe that would inform the board on what our things that we may want to consider when we do our procurement, but not that Cable Advisory would be responsible for handling it or for going out and doing it. I think that'd still be the board is going to procure it, make the decision, determine the final details. So I guess in I'm talking with Brian, having him put forward these questions for the board to consider, I was thinking of it more of, are they providing some feedback and some ideas and commentary on the contract, what may be missing, what might be better? Do they recommend we try to align a longer term contract with the franchise agreement when it does renew? Things like that. But that would be things to help inform us not to do it, to take over the responsibility of procuring and managing it, the agreement, which I think is part of what you were getting to, is the board would still own that agreement and manage it.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to give up sole responsibility for how it functions
That makes sense.
and operates on a, I wouldn't want to give up that responsibility to the cable committee.
So, the name of the committee is advisory. I agree, and when I also see the word committee, it reminds me that we have joint meetings and joint discussions to come up with the best course of action for important matters. We meet with the Finance Committee, we meet with the Capital Committee, we have those discussions, and then those committees meet amongst themselves to discuss and come back. So I think if we have this committee, which is designated to advise, I think their input is important, but I'm also in line with you two gentlemen that I think the importance of this and that procurement sits with us, should sit with us, especially since, again, this committee was dormant for years, and it would be a big responsibility for people who are coming in fresh I would welcome that advisory capacity and have different sets of eyes look on it, different ideas weigh in, so that ultimately the three of us can make the best decision for the community.
Makes sense.
So it sounds like we're leaning towards bullet one, I think, to do a short-term procurement to give us a little bit more time. Have the cable advisory look it over, provide some feedback, maybe have some joint meetings to talk about it. And then ultimately we'll review what it was, any feedback we had, any ideas we had on how we might want to change it or evolve, and then move it forward. Sound good?
For the short-term agreement, is there a certain duration you'd like me to arrange for? We currently have services through August 31st. And for an IFB, I typically need 4 weeks. 3 weeks really, but 4
To-
gives a little cushion.
To get it done, get it out, and get
Mhm.
responses, yeah. But you're really, I mean, really we're saying use our existing procurement and procure it for a few months, is what
For a short term.
effectively, what we're talking
Correct.
about for the short-term one,
Yeah.
right? So you're just asking what term? What's short-term look like?
Correct.
Okay.
Is that 2 months, 3 months?
But, I'm thinking 3 months is a fiscal quarter, would that, or if.
4
you know, if we're
months.
What's that?
4 months.
4 months,
4 months
No.
would get us to the end of the calendar year.
right, 3
get us
months
back.
is a fiscal quarter, right, 3 times.
Okay.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
the schedule's off.
It's not aligned to a fiscal quarter, but
That's
it
the
is a
Right.
fiscal quarter. That's
So,
fair. Yeah, I
4
gotcha.
months takes us to, okay, so we'll do a fiscal third. And take us through, we'll do the end of the calendar year.
That's what I'm
And that
thinking.
will give the advisory committee a chance to get their feet wet, meet, get organized,
Right.
begin getting up to speed.
Okay.
I'm thinking between now and the end of this agreement, I mean, or say September, end of September, hopefully they can meet a couple times. And then
Right.
October, November, we can be meeting with them and put something out by the end of November, because if we want to have it back and do something by the holidays, I mean, we got to put it out probably mid-November at the latest,
At the latest.
I would think.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it'll go really quick. It's
It
not
will
that
go
far away. So I think 4 months is probably
Okay.
through December 31.
So I'll take care of that and get you an answer for your meeting on the 4th. So
An
you have
answer?
something to start reviewing.
Meeting on.
A proposal for the three of you to review. for
Of the
4th.
procurement, the IFB.
Correct.
Okay.
And in the meantime,
Gotcha,
I'll get
gotcha.
the advisory committee scheduled to meet.
Okay.
So I could do those two things, but we'll revisit as a group on this topic on the 4th so that you can consider short-term options. And then we'll do the longer-term meeting with the cable advisory committee, getting their feedback, and then updating the IFB.
Is there, okay, I guess if we're going to use the same procurement but do it for 4 months, is there anything we really need to review? Okay.
Well, you have to, you're
I
the
mean, you
only
got to
ones who
give you
can
an
make an award.
authorization. Yeah,
So,
no, I know, that's fine. But you won't have those results back by the 4th. We'll have to, that's just going to be to launch it. No, you're expecting to have them back. How do we get to 4 weeks?
just,
You lost me at 4 weeks.
Exactly.
Okay. That's where you lost me.
for,
I'm better.
for 4 months, I don't need to do a full IFB.
Okay.
But for
that makes
a
more
multi-year
sense.
contract like we've been discussing, that is an IFB, correct?
I think I conflated the, what does it take to do the extension? What does it take to do the contract?
Yes,
Contract is 4 weeks.
right.
A 3-year procurement
Right.
IFB. Okay.
Yeah.
Extension is not.
No.
Okay. Thank you. Better now.
Clear as mud.
Yeah.
That's all. I got what I needed. We're all set. I'm going to be able to take care of you guys.
Okay. 4-month extension, no changes. Got it. Discussion regarding activities coordinator search and screening committee. So we have a vacancy obviously now in the activities coordinator position here at the center. And our new director, Dulcie, reviewed and had no recommended changes to the existing job description.
That is correct.
Based on that, I had advised Brian to go ahead and put it out with the other advertisements for hiring that we had. Obviously, we can still make changes to the position description if there's anything you all saw. But just in the interest of time to kind of have it running concurrently. So that's where we are, and then obviously we'll need a screening committee as well.
I met with Dulcie today. She has some thoughts on who she'd recommend to fill out the committee once she knows whether or not you were looking for a 3-member or a 5-member.
Did she have any preference on 3 to 5?
She did not communicate the preference.
Okay. So job description first. Anything of note? Anything to change or look okay to you?
It looks
Both.
okay to
Looked
me.
fine to me. Was what she was hired under as activity coordinator.
Mhm.
I wouldn't make any changes to it.
Excellent.
Okay. It's one of our probably more recent ones anyway, so it's
Correct.
pretty,
Yeah.
pretty up to date. In terms of the screening committee, any preference or direction on 3 to 5 people?
My preference would be 5.
Yeah,
Okay.
5 is, we've been running a lot of our selection committees, and the ones that I've participated in, there's a lot of good feedback. And again, like I said about talking about the last committee, different sets of eyes bring,
Mm.
potentially good ideas, so.
Okay.
All right. So,
As the liaison to this department, I'm willing to serve on behalf of the select board.
any concerns?
No concern.
Okay. So obviously we'll have the director, we'll have you. 3
We're looking
others?
for recommendations on 3 more.
Yes.
And I don't think there's a reason we can't have all that for you for August 4th. So
Okay.
we'll have her recommendations so that you can vote to establish the committee and make your appointments.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
And we have, when's the due date on those up? When's the closing on that?
There's no, it's a rolling submission, but the preference
Preference.
was the 25th, so the end of next week.
Was that on the,
We've been
Highway-
advertising for 2 weeks and I'll put out a few additional advertisements online.
it was July 25th.
That's correct.
And that was the same for the highway equipment operator position?
We did a joint ad for,
Joint ad for both?
that position in public health.
Okay.
Have we had any responses yet?
We're starting to get responses on the positions. So, yeah.
Excellent.
But it doesn't mean that one may have, sufficient number of applicants and another position may not, so we may decide to change the advertising strategy or.
Sure. No,
So,
just a
yeah.
curious question, not a,
Last year was an immense struggle with advertising, as the two of you experienced, where we were getting none after weeks of advertising on
Responses,
some. And I don't want to jinx it, but fortunately, we're seeing responses, so it's exciting. So
solid mahogany.
If Brian gets up and knocks on it, that's going to be really funny, but we'll stop there. To that end, I did speak, we talked a little bit, just similarly about hiring and such. The highway superintendent and fire chief about our employees transitioning and that transition time period and everything and the timing of this. So we worked it out. We're going to, what I'd recommended, what they're kind of working through right now is a late August, early September transfer. Gives about a month to hopefully go through the hiring process. If it's closing on the 25th, hopefully the screening committee will have some candidates and have made brought someone to us, made a recommendation, and then the potential that we may have at least put an offer out before that employee transfers. I also assured them that none of us have any interest in delaying that indefinitely or to hold anyone back from making that change. So more targeting just to give, I think that's somewhere between a 60 and 90 day period to hopefully get something in motion. We understand that we may not be successful and we would still be moving that employee forward regardless by then. But but to be looking around that
Yeah.
first week of September, last week of August timeframe. So, probably informed by how the screening goes, if it's sooner than, say, September 6th or so, something like that, but it's around that time, so just an update to that conversation from last time.
Good.
Anything else that we have? Just the warrants, I think.
Just the ones. And it should be right next to you.
Okay.
I will make a motion to approve the third accounts payable warrant for fiscal year 2026 in the aggregate amount of $472,666.37 as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Question.
Yes.
This is a process that we never did before, so I was wondering why we're doing it.
Great question. So let's hold off on that vote. Recommendation of council that we should, formally approve and adopt the warrant, signing of the warrants at meetings. I think you were on when we started doing this. The board made, and we should probably revisit that every time we do reorg.
Annual appointments, that's a good point.
Yeah, we had a standing board motion for a single signer on the payroll warrant,
Okay.
but not on the AP warrant.
Right.
So you'll notice some meetings now will have the payroll warrant, and I'll just advise on what I signed as the primary signer. I usually sign it. And then on the AP warrants, we're actually making a motion to sign it because it's here. So it's more of a recommendation to formalize that from council. And for the ones that are done outside, the cycle happens outside of a meeting schedule, to advise on what action was taken by the authorized signer or signers outside of the meeting.
Mhm.
So more of that, and I think just to put that transparency out there too for the public to see, like, we're acting on this AP and this payroll every period, and they can see that clearly. So did I leave anything out? Because I know council talked to you about that
That
too.
was, you got it correct?
Okay. So that's where it started from. We just started doing it. It's not even 6 months old, so
Oh, okay.
it's new for us too. We're just still getting our feet wet with it. I think you did it in one of the last meetings. He said it, and I was like, oh yeah. I totally was ready to wrap up, even though it's on the agenda, because
Right.
it's such habit.
Right.
Right. So
Okay.
yeah, new. Any other questions?
No.
All right. I'll call for the vote on that again. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And then our next meeting, August 4th here, 6:30.
Correct.
Any other items for tonight? All right, with that,
Motion to adjourn?
I will second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all. Have a good night.